Hello everybody, welcome back to my channel. Excuse the weird angle. I wanted to try and get you as close to my eyes as I could. I'm going to be doing 4 looks using the Brights palette by Ruby May Cosmetics. This is what it looks like. I'm going to do 2 separate looks. I'll take it off and then do 2 separate looks. So we'll have 4 looks. I made my little post-it of the color combos that I wanted to use. So I have that out. I haven't actually done a trial run with these. I kind of thought about it in my head and decided I would just sit down and film it. It's faster for me not to do trial runs and a little bit easier on my eyes. I did already have makeup on once today and my hair's coming out. So I didn't want to have to take it off a bunch. And I am going to take the eye looks off on camera. These shadows are pretty pigmented. And I noticed I had some staining when I used it the first time. So I thought it might be helpful for you to see how bad the staining is. What colors are really staining, because some people are sensitive to that. I know, like I said, there's people that if the eyeshadow is going to stain their eye, it's like an irritant, and there's certain pigments, and then there's some people that just don't like it when the shadows stain. So I thought it would be helpful to take them off on camera so you could really see the staining, and then if it doesn't bother you, and then it's probably a palette worth getting. If it does, then it might be a deterrent. Normally I don't take the eyeshadows off on camera, but like I said, because they were a little bit on the stainy side, I figured I would do that this time. And then I did put, you saw I put primer underneath. We're using the paint pot because this is where I had the staining the most, was under here. So I'm going to see if this makes a difference at all. Sometimes it will. And I'm going to get out my concealer that I use for my lid. It's just the e.l.f. Camo Concealer. The first look I'm going to do on this side is going to be blue and orange. This is inspired by L&N Box Co. She is a newer subscriber of mine. She's very, very sweet. I'm pulling I'm shedding. You can't really see what I'm doing, but it's driving me crazy that I can see hairs. She's really, really sweet. She's been watching a lot of my videos, commenting. Just super, super nice lady. I like her a lot and I enjoy interacting with her and commenting. So she did a really cool blue and orange look when she did the initial Tribe unboxing. So we're going to do a blue and orange look. So I feel like we're already 3 minutes in and I haven't done anything. So I'm just going to use a flat brush and we're going to go in with the light blue shade. I think between the 4 looks, I think I'm going to be using every shade. So hopefully that is also helpful. I mentioned it a little bit in my initial review. I don't normally do all matte looks. So this palette is definitely forcing me out of my comfort zone, because like this look, I'm just going to be using the matte shades, no shimmers. Like I said, I never do all matte looks, but you see I've only dipped into the palette twice. It's pretty pigmented. Like I said, I'm using the MAC Paint Pot in Soft Ochre. I like this one because it's lighter than a little bit lighter than my skin tone, but it has the yellow base because I have a yellow undertone. It really cancels out any staining or discoloration. So I like that shade a lot. I'm going to go in with the dark blue, same brush. I have my color switch down here, so I'm just color switching. I've talked about this in videos. I tend to use, I'll grab like 2 or 3 brushes when I'm doing a look that day, and we'll just probably use those brushes That's pretty normal for me. I'm sure it bothers people in videos, like if you're not using a bunch of different brushes or you use the same brush, but especially because we're using similar shades, I don't think it matters. This color, I will say, is not coming across as patchy as it did when I used it the first time, so it very well may have been the concealer primer. I don't remember. I'd have to go back and whatever I put on my lid. I think you do need to build it up because it looks darker on camera than it does to me in real life. When I went to blend it, it looks like some of the pigment dissipated or diffused, I guess would be the right word. And it is going to be a little patchy on the outer corner because I don't have any foundation or anything on my skin. I have moisturizer and that's it, so I'm not really concerned with any patchiness out there because, like I said, I don't have anything down, so that's just going on my bare skin. I'm gonna tilt you up just a little bit. Yeah, when you have foundation or even primers down, it's gonna go on a lot smoother. And I do have like a pore tightening sleeping mask that's slightly tacky, so I'm not gonna pay attention to that very outer corner too much, but it's definitely blending better than it did when I used it the other day. So it definitely was. Oh, the primer. I remember I tried the balm primer that we got in the Tribe box. So it definitely was the primer. Like I said in that video, some primers just don't play well with some eyeshadow formulas. So if you have a palette that you've tried and it's not necessarily working, try a couple different primers or no primer. Or if you're not using a primer, try it with a primer before you completely throw in the towel. When I've gotten rid of palettes, if I get rid of them because I don't like them, I generally try to use them a couple of times before I really like make that determination. Okay, I just put some concealer on the front part of my lid, and I'm going to go in, because this isn't a shimmer, I don't feel like I need to use the same brush I normally do. I'm going to try this as a ColourPop E3. It's the one I normally use in my pressed pigments, but it's a bigger flat brush. Normally I use like with shimmers, a skinnier flat brush, but like I said, this is a matte, so I'm going to go in. I mean, technically it's a matte with glitter in it, but that glitter is probably not going to translate onto the lid, so I'm just going to consider this a matte shadow. I can see a little bit of gold glitter, but typically when you have matte shades with glitter in them, the glitter is going to disappear. Like if you were to buff this into your crease, the glitter would dust away. I think the only reason there's some little sparkles remaining is because I'm not brushing it on too much. I'm just patting it. And as I was saying about L&L Box Co., I will leave her channel name and the link for her Tribe video down below because she wears her blue and orange eye look in that video. So if you would like to go check her out, I will leave that down below. So that is that. And I just flipped the brush over. So this is the side I had the orange on. I flipped it over, and that's what I used to blend out the edge, to blend it into the orange. And I'm just going to take this. Like I said, it's going to look probably a little stranger than it would if I had foundation on, but I put a mask, a sleeping mask on, and then I decided to film this, and then I thought it would be good to demonstrate, because normally I will go in and fix my foundation, but I don't want to mess around with all that on camera, so we can just make do with the eye looks with no foundation. I took the orange a little bit on the lower lash line, and then I'm gonna, where's the brush? I just saw it. Here's one. It's a fat, short, stubby. I think I'm gonna go in with the dark blue, and then I'll blend it out with the light blue, because we're pretty far over. I took the orange about a little over half, and then I can blend the blue into it. So I just put down a little bit of the dark and just overlapping it just slightly. So they're just a hair offset, and then I'm gonna go in, I'll leave that out, with a somewhat, let's try this. This is a slightly fluffy Medusa's Makeup, some sort of a brush. I have a few Medusa's Makeup brushes, but fun fact, they don't sell their brushes individually, but we've gotten individual brushes in the subscription box. So the brushes don't have names, but it's like part of their eyepiece set. So then I just took that light blue underneath, and I think I'm gonna go in with a little bit of that dark blue, and maybe take that over into the crease and blend this a little bit more so there's not quite such a harsh just to deepen the crease up just a little bit. So there is look number one. I'm not going to put liner mascara. You could definitely do a wing liner with this one. That would be pretty, but it's fun. I like the blue and the orange a lot, and you could even take the dark blue down over in here just a little bit more. For the second look, I'm going to use the purples and the lime green. I am going to go in, I think because I used blues, I can probably get away with using the same brush. I color switched it. I am going to go in with the shimmer in my crease. We're just going to do that, and that is so soft. I like tapped into it, and now there's like a little bit of a dent. But we're going to put the shimmer in the crease. Again, I haven't tested these looks out. This could be really bad, but I don't think there's anything wrong with doing shimmer in the crease, especially when you, I mean, some of the metallic shades maybe, but like something like this, because when I go to buff it out, it to me just looks a little satiny. It doesn't necessarily look like it's sparkly, but it doesn't scream it, at least not to me. And then I'm gonna clean that off, and then I'm gonna go into the lighter purple, and I'm gonna go above it and kind of smoke that out. And I'm taking that down into the socket, which with these shades you do want to be careful because it can make it look like you got punched in the face, but I think it looks apparent that I have eyeshadow on, so I don't care. But I do try to watch purples because my circles are so dark and sometimes they peek through the concealer. I do try to watch what shades of purple I do on my lower lash line. I will do purple on the lower lash line, but I have to be careful because of the dark circles. It'll look raccoony on me, or it can. if the concealer is not working. I'm just taking that darker shade on my lid and I'm gonna go back in. It's a little patchy, but it is, like I said, these are very like soft, chunky, like they're not, I don't know, flaky glitters. I don't know, like they don't have chunks of glitter in them, but they're a little bit chunky of a formula, if that makes sense. Like they crumble. They're crumbly. That's the word I'm going to use. Okay, so I'm going to go back in, and this brush that I use is just probably from Amazon. It says Medusa's makeup on it, but I think I've seen these like unicorn handled ones. It works really good for concealer. The other brush that I have that I used to use all the time for this was just a cheap one off of Amazon. So you don't have to use, you can use, I mean, like Sigma sells a really nice, like expensive cut crease brush. I don't think it's necessary. You can, but like I have those brushes on hand and it works just fine. I'm going to take that lighter shade just to blend. I touched the concealer a little high. Okay. And we're going to go in with the lime green. I'm going to use the same brush because again, I got it off. Okay. So and again, I like purple and lime green together. It is very Joker-ish, but I don't have a problem with Batman, so that's probably why I think of that. I mean, there's other things that you could probably associate green and purple with. That's just what I think of. And I think I'll just do the same thing that I did on the other eye. We'll just take the lime green down into the inner corner, just because normally I would probably dip into another palette, but I don't want to do that for this. So we'll just take the lime green down, and then I'm just going to take this brush again, and I'm going to go into the lighter purple. Normally I would put the glitter on the bottom. I was thinking about just doing the lighter purple on the top and the glitter on the bottom, because normally something like that I will do a glitter bottom, but that lime green's pretty intense, so I didn't think that it needed a sparkly lower line. I mean, it's pretty bold, so it's pretty much the same look. I just used different shades, but I think that's why I don't do a lot of tutorials, because I pretty much do the same, a version of this. So that is look number 2, just using the 2 purple shades and the green. I think it's pretty. Normally I would go into another palette and do a highlight, probably put some glitter of some sort, but I think it's pretty. So now we're going to go into the removal. This shouldn't be too terribly long. I'm just using my cellar water. I have a smaller bottle, and you can see how it removes. And I'm probably going to get all kinds of comments. I'm rubbing my eye too hard. I'm tugging on my skin. I know it's bad for your eye. I know, but sometimes, because like I don't have any mascara on, and you see so there is some pigmentation, and I did put a primer down. You all watched me do it. Now it may not stain as bad if you had concealer, maybe, but you can see there's a little bit of remnants of orange, and I feel like you can see like a tint. Let me use what's left on this. I have another pad, but if I can get away with using just one. Generally, when you have staining, it's going to be like your purples and your pinks I feel like the orange is a culprit. I feel like all of these shades stain a little bit except for maybe the yellow. And it's really difficult. I had this problem last time where like I've scrubbed and I can't get that like near the line off. It just like soaked into my skin or something, and you can see it still in the inner corner. Like that'll still be there tomorrow. But I feel like you can see just a slight tint. I feel like the blue's probably a little bit more just in here, but so if that's bothersome, then that may be a deterrent, but and I won't take the last two looks out, but it kind of gives you an idea. Like I said, it's not uncommon for purples and pinks, but like I said, I feel like every shade in this palette does it except for maybe that yellow. I don't know why. I think the last look I will do a halo eye. That way you're not sitting here watching me do four of basically the same eye look. Like I said, I don't do a ton of tutorials because I'm limited because of my eyes being hooded and sunken in and small. So I can't do a lot. I mean, I can do more extreme looks, but I feel like because my eyes are so small, it just looks odd. Because it's like almost up to my eyebrow. Because you see how close my eyebrows are. Like there's just not a lot of space. Okay, we're going to use the pink and these purple shades. I think I'm going to go in with the hot pink. And so, like I said, this one's probably going to stain. I'm pretty sure this stained on my eye last time. My eyes looked all sorts of weird. And again, I'm using the same brush. I color switched it and you can see that's pretty pink. It's not. I am one of those people, I do not clean. I try to clean my eye brushes once a week, but that doesn't always happen. So I color switch and have a spray cleaner and try and get that by. I just don't have the kind of time to clean. I know people I watch on YouTube that swear they clean their brushes every day. I have a small child. I'm a little bit lazy and I just don't have that kind of time. I have had issues with brushes starting to like contaminate, and once they hit that point where the color is not coming off of them, then I clean them, which sounds bad, I know. But like I said, I don't have a ton of time, so. And I'm just blowing that pink up. These are all going to be pretty basic looks. Unless you want to do a rainbow eye, it's probably going to be safer to stick to 2 or 3 shades just because you're going to start muddying. I'm taking that purple. I'm not putting concealer on this time. This shade is very crumbly. I can feel it falling on my face and into my eye. So again, if you're sensitive to certain pigments, because you can see it all over my face. But this is sticking just fine to my lid. It's just crumbly, but it was crumbly with the concealer, so I don't know that it's probably a little bit worse because I don't have the concealer down, but I figured I would do one without the concealer because not everybody wants to put concealer on their eye. So I'm just trying to get a fluffy brush. I do it because I like, because my lids are so small, I'm gonna have to wipe that off. I like the lid to be super punchy. So that's the only reason I do it. It's not necessary for most shadows, but you can see that one on fine. Like I said, it's crumbly, and I don't think the crumbliness had anything to do with me not using concealer. And I think on the bottom, I'm going to take the lighter purple, like the matte, and maybe the pink. We'll see. Again, these looks are, I have glitter in my eye from that. Pretty basic. I'll take the purple in the inner corner just because I don't want to leave it bare and I don't want to pull. Like I said, I would be pulling from another palette probably for that and under my eyebrow, but I don't want to have to do that. And I'm going to go in with the pink just below that. So you can see that's pretty basic, but it looks pretty. And then you can put some more pink up here because there's a little bit of space. And then that would look pretty probably with some liner on it too. And the purple is having troubles on my outer corner, but my eyes are starting to water because of that glitter in my eye. And I think I'll do this because this is a pretty pigmented shade, and we'll have a little bit of a wing. I like that. I think that's cute. You saw, that's very pigmented because that didn't take hardly any effort at all. I think that's cute. Yeah, normally I would do a glitter of some sort in the inner corner, purple glitter, pink glitter, and then do a shimmery white above the lid, but I just threw the purple in there because, like I said, I don't want to leave it bare. Okay, so I will do a halo eye on this side. I don't do halo eyes often. Just because, again, you're going to get tired of me saying that my eyelids are small, but they are. It's just a fact. I'm not complaining. It's just the way it is. And so I feel like halo eyes look better on people with larger lids. Like, and you don't have to have larger lids. I just think they look prettier when you have more surface. So I went in with the dark blue, and I'm just, this is that skinnier. I'm just putting some of this slightly above the crease so I can blend it out. And then it doesn't have to be super neat because this is going to shear out. Just leave the center. I'll put some concealer down, so if you wanted to, you could put color all over the lid. It wouldn't matter because if you put concealer on, you're going to cover it up anyway. But and then I'm going to blend this out a little bit by itself. And then I'll go in with the lighter shade. I feel like these are blending out pretty fast. Like, I'm not trying to be fast with it necessarily, but I don't want to be here for a million years either. But it doesn't take much to blend these out, which is nice. They're not difficult to blend, which I appreciate. So somebody that's not as experienced with eyeshadow could use these, and I wouldn't see them having too much trouble. Maybe with the shimmers being flaky, but they're not horrible. I've had shimmers do the same thing. Like the Morphe ones can be a little bit on the crumblier side, so I don't think it's anything that anybody would have any issues with. So then I just blended that out. And my nose is running again. It always runs when I'm filming. Just gonna see if there's any remnants left on that brush. There is not. And I don't even pull it out all the way. I just take from the wand. And then you can go over, like I didn't leave a very big space, so I am gonna take that over just a little bit farther on each side, like that. So like I said, you could put the blue if you're worried about being more precise with that, and then just cover it up. So there is that. And I'm going to go in with that flat brush, and we're going to use the yellow, which is the last shade that we haven't used. And I'm going to tap it, and it feels just as crumbly. I think it's not quite as bad. It's a little bit butterier than the purple. The purple's definitely crumbling. Like I said, you can see the dip, and I've only used this palette twice, so definitely probably gonna go through that shade relatively quickly. Okay, so there's that, and I'm gonna flip the brush over again, and I'm going inward towards the yellow. And I'm just softening the line a little bit. Now you could go the opposite direction and pull the yellow out. I don't necessarily want to pull the yellow out, so I'm going in the inner part. I got a little concealer, and I feel like some of that dark blue blended away. So I'm just gonna pat a little bit more in there. So there's that. And we'll put a little bit of the yellow on the inner corner. That's probably going to look a little bit odd, but like I said, I don't want to go into an, oh, I don't think that looks, that's cute actually. Hooray! And then we'll just put the lighter blue underneath with a little bit of the dark on the outer corner. So we'll go in with that light blue. It may look slightly darker than it did before because again my eyes are running and I felt it get wet, so we've got, it will intensify the pigment if you get it wet. And then I'm just going to take this brush because it's pretty skinny on the top, and I'm going to go in with the blue. Just about 3/4 over. Just near the lash line. You can't even, with that small amount, you can't, and probably because my eye's wet, it doesn't even look like it did a whole lot, but that's cool. And I like that little bit of yellow in the inner corner. And I was able to do a wing. So yeah, that is not too bad. And I, again, was able to use all the shades in the palette. So hopefully this was helpful for anybody that's interested in this palette. Again, it's the Brights palette by Ruby May. So yeah, thank you guys so much. Please like this video, give it a thumbs up, and please subscribe if you haven't already. It means a lot to me. And hopefully I will see everybody in my next video. Bye guys.